it just got worse as the day went on for Aden Holloway and for Alabama fans. Aden Holloway personally, Alabama fans who are hoping to make a deeper run in the NCAA tournament. Before we update on everything that happened, Aden Holloway, the basketball player, 6'1" guard, so really 6 foot. And he's the folks at, is it Evan Maya?
Yep.
EvanMaya.com. He did the metrics. Alabama is 9.7 points per possession better on offense when Aden Holloway is on the floor. Is that good?
That's good.
It sounds like it, yeah.
9.7 points per possession better on offense when Holloway is on the floor, and that number went up in SEC games. It's a higher number in SEC games. That's for the year, 9.7. Up higher when he's playing light competition. That's a big loss.
That's a big loss. And, outside of LeBaron and Philon, I mean, this guy is your offensive go-to. What I don't get, and I was thinking about this yesterday, and I'm just guessing. I don't know any numbers. I'm guessing he's making $600,000 to $700,000.
We were discussing that before the show.
The floor is got to be $500,000.
I would say the floor $500,000. Yeah,
yeah, it's got to be over $500,000. And what you're getting to is the question I was asking people last night. I was like, and again, you're innocent until you're proven guilty, and all of those disclaimers there. But if he is dealing with what he's being charged with and all of that, what's the profit margin?
It doesn't make any financial sense at all. Okay, so
like
you
how
guys
much weed would you have to move?
But you agree $600,000 to $700,000 is probably what he's making.
Yeah, it's over 500. It's got to be.
He was a pound of weed was confiscated, right? If it was 5 pounds, they would have said 5 pounds. It was 1 pound.
Right.
1 pound street value, approximately $3,000 in Alabama.
That's all?
Yeah, $3,000.
Well, I would have guessed more
a
than
lot
that.
cheaper in legal states. So dime bags are $10 a bag. Like, it doesn't make any sense at all. My feeling is the more you think about this, is it was probably just personal use. He just had a lot of it. Like, it's not the easiest thing in the world. I mean, look, it's pretty easy to get weed, but, to get a pound of weed, probably not the easiest thing. So it's probably better for him to buy in bulk, and he probably had it, and he's probably smoking it himself.
Yeah.
There's no way he's dealing. I find it really hard to believe because financially it doesn't make any sense at all.
It does not make sense. Now, a lot of people would point out if he was dealing, they would have tacked on another charge, intent to distribute.
Let me ask you this, though, okay? When you see task force, though, okay?
Yep.
This wasn't campus police. This wasn't, Tuscaloosa County. Like, the word task force was used, which to me,
I can give you some insight here. Because
task force to me sounds like that's an operation.
Well, I had
what I mean?
I had some friends, and this is back in the early 90s, and believe it or not, I did not smoke weed back then. I just picked up weed in 2020 with the pandemic just to sleep a little bit. But back in the day, I had some friends that would get busted, and it was a cycle, and here's the way it would work. You would get a guy that maybe had a pound and he was dealing out. Well, he would get nabbed, and then they would get him to narc on somebody else. And Tuscaloosa's always had this task force. And I remember it was really bad. About 10 years ago, there was a massive bust. But the way they do is they just get guys to continue to flip on another guy over and over again. So it sounds a little more extravagant than it probably is.
And I asked, I talked to several attorneys, including our friend Tommy Spina, who gave me some insight on this. But I talked to several other attorneys asking that question, like, okay,
how does this work?
You point out a pound. Why is a pound significant if you don't do intent to distribute? And every lawyer I talked to said the thing that stands out in this story is there was a search warrant executed, which means this was not just some random, they just showed up, knocked on the door, and do I smell weed in here, sir? I mean, this was a orchestrated event.
Help me out with this. Holloway was pulled over a week ago, right?
That's the reports. I don't know who first reported this, but I think Ryan Phillips, who works locally in Tuscaloosa, Tuscaloosa Patch. Ryan does a really good job with stuff in Tuscaloosa. I think he first reported that, but it has now been reported through sources that he was pulled over by University Police, not Tuscaloosa. Important distinction there, UPD.
You're big on the message boards last week.
Yeah, UAPD. And he had a little weed on him, and he just was issued a citation.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because it's the University Police, maybe a little different. I was just going to say, it seems like he's been under surveillance for a little bit. if he's getting pulled over there, maybe they bust him there.
I don't know how
deeper.
much UAPD and Tuscaloosa PD cooperate on stuff like that. If Tuscaloosa had pulled him over,
Yeah.
it seems more likely that would be the case. But when it's UAPD, and maybe they cooperate a ton. I really don't know, Jim. I don't know if anybody at Alabama police picks up the phone and calls Tuscaloosa City or Tuscaloosa County and say, hey, by the way, who we pulled over today had a little weed on him. Y'all may want to go, Even still, to do a raid, you've got – I don't know that – I know you joke about me being the legal analyst on the show. I don't know that pulling a guy over a little weed in his car is enough to get a warrant to go raid his house or apartment or whatever it is dwelling.
I wouldn't think.
I would think you have to have more than that.
Yeah, not in my country.
But if I get pulled over and I get a citation, then I'm probably going to be a little bit more aware of the weed that I've got in my house.
Correct.
And I'm probably going to be like, whoever my best friend is, hey, man, can I put this at your place for a little bit?
But let me quickly go back to why, people would say, well, there's no intent to distribute. And that was the question I asked yesterday. Is like, why point out that it's a pound if you don't also tack on intent to distribute? And one of the answers I got was in cases like this, and not saying this is what happened in the Holloway case, okay? I'm not saying, I want to be clear about this, I'm not saying that's what happened here. But talking to several criminal defense attorneys, they say in cases like this, what Lance said happens. Guy gets popped for weed. Where'd you get it, son? You want to get out of this? Tell me where you got it. Well, I got it at this place. Okay. Well, we can make this go away, but you're going to have to help us make it go away. And the way you help us make it go away is we're going to send you in and let you buy a little bit. And that way we know you're telling us the truth. And if you do that, it's going to go away. So kid gets taken to the spot. They pat him down. They make sure nothing's on him. They give him the cash. They say, now you come out with the weed and you're free. He comes out with the weed. They go to the judge. Judge, we sent this kid in with money. We patted him down first. Didn't have weed on him. We watch him go in the apartment. He comes out of the apartment, house, whatever. He's got the weed on him. He doesn't have the money we gave him. Judge says, okay, here's the warrant. Now you go do the raid. The reason a lot of times in those situations, the reason a lot of times I am told that intent to distribute doesn't get tacked on is because then the informant has to testify sometimes. And that creates a whole new set of issues. So a lot of times they'll just do the arrest. When you get a pound, 2 pounds, whatever, the judge knows what's going on, right?
I remember there were so many people that got labeled with the snitch because it was happening so much. But again, this just doesn't make any sense. I mean, I'm sure he likes his weed. A pound of weed is a lot to have for personal use, but there is no way he is dealing.
For those that don't know, how long would it take for one person?
It's 1,000 joints.
It's 1,000 joints.
So if you smoke 3 a day, I mean, that's...
Okay, what's 6 a day?
I mean, if you smoke 3 a day, that's
asking for a friend.
That's a year of weed, and I just don't think it holds good for that long.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of puzzling things about this.
Yeah.
The most puzzling thing is you telling me a pound's only $3,000 street value. I would have guessed much more than that. But, a pound of sugar, I can't envision what that looks like. I can't even envision what a pound of weed looks like.
I told you, it's
about like
sack
that.
full, yeah.
That's a lot of weed.
Yeah, a pound of sugar is that thing you buy in the grocery store, about like that.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we'll see what happens. I was also told by a lot of these attorneys as well that Tuscaloosa, because it's a college town, has a very active, what's the word I'm looking for?
Task force?
No, not deferment. What is the word I'm looking for?
Where they let you plea down?
Yeah, where you can plead in because it's a college town and you got a lot of college kids making stupid mistakes and they understand that. Diversion. That's what diversionary programs. And initially, before some of the other details came out, I was told, hey, Tuscaloosa's got a pretty active diversionary program if it's his first issue.
Yeah, that was the first thing I thought was this will be a misdemeanor.
Well, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't heard the comments. I know we're going to get to them with Nate Oats. I guess we've got those right.
Yeah, we got them in graphic form,
okay.
not off of Hey Coach
last
night. We're about to get to them, yeah.
Was he specifically said he's not, we're prepared to play without him this weekend, right?
Yeah. Let's run through that.
Okay.
First, the school, the university. The university has to protect all students, and I think it's automatic. If you're charged with a felony, you're taken off campus. You're under suspension. And Alabama put out this statement yesterday. The university is aware of the allegations, is working to gather more information. The student has been removed from campus pending further investigation by the UA Office of Student Conduct. So I think that's protocol like anybody, no matter what the felony charge is, you would get that statement from the university. Removed from campus was what everybody saw during the day. Well, then, Hey Coach last night, Nate Oats, gets on there, and he gets asked about the basketball side of this, and he's disappointed, but we still love him. But we've got standards in our programs. We've got ways we've held our guys accountable, says Nate Oats. Quote, we try to keep everything in-house. Obviously, some of the situations you can't. This is one of those. It's a little different. We found out what was going on this morning. I found out this morning. I guess it all went down this morning. We had to suspend him pending the investigation by the UA Office of Student Conduct. So that's the university who did that. We're disappointed in his behavior. And then Nate says this. With that said, we still love him. He's still our guy. We're going to get him the help that he needs. We're preparing to play without him this weekend, end quote. You had a thought about that?
I mean, this weekend is this weekend. You know, if he said, hey, we're preparing to play this tournament, to go on this tournament run without him, I think it's a little bit different. I think it is like a day-by-day probably, let's investigate this. Let's see what we can do. Let's see, you know, where this thing's heading.
The field of 68 guys, and Jeff Goodman and those guys and Nate have a great relationship. They write, the Tide probably won't have him this week and possibly beyond is the way they word it.
Do you guys know, and this is an important fact, is Bama on spring break right now? Do you know?
They are this week, I believe.
This week is spring break. That's an important detail because this whole suspended from school, there'll have to be a hearing, and I don't know that you can pull that off during spring break. That could be an issue there. That's going to slow all this. See, because you got two sides of this. You've got the legal side and the school side, right? So as I understand the process, as I understand it, he gets a hearing
in front of the student council.
In front of the student council, the same ones that suspended him from campus. He gets the hearing. And the way I understand it is, even if there's a negative result, he gets an appeal as well. I don't imagine that, as most things on a college campus, being a highly expedited process, but with him it might be. But if you're on spring break, that is a complication.
But if spring break is this week, you can have.
You could.
You can roll right into Monday and have something for.
First thing we do Monday.
I am going to predict that if they make it to the second weekend, he will play.
Brown makes it sound like the student council president's getting awakened in Cancun.
Yeah.
Dude, you got to fly back. University planes on the tarmac.
Sure there's a lot of phone calls to whoever is going to be involved in that meeting, if in fact they have that meeting.
Oh, I'm sure.
And it probably is already set up for next Monday, if in fact they are out of school. I have got a prediction that I think if they make it through this weekend, which I think they will, I think he will be back with the team.
Yeah,
I think there's too much money involved. You said basement probably $500,000 he's making this year. The way he played this year, he's going to make $1 million plus next year. They'll figure this out behind the scenes.
I did point that out yesterday on social media, and I think we discussed it on the show. You know, how you handle this, Nate Oats and them, is Aden Holloway's part of. I mean, he's a big part of the plan next year for Alabama because Philon not back, Houston Millett not back, Latrell Wrightsell not back. I mean, that's NBA, no eligibility.
Oh, if Amari Allen's gone to the NBA,
I think Amari Allen will be back, but I understand.
Well, yeah, but I was going to say, so like if I'm Nate Oats, Amari Allen's probably the most important piece coming back, but Holloway would be number 2. If Amari Allen's not coming back, Holloway is going to be, it doesn't matter. He's going to be a 7-figure guy next year. So I think that they will get this figured out, personal opinion, but there's a lot of people. I host that Calcutta every year.
Yeah.
And last night when we got into the 4 seeds, Alabama, which normally, you have a couple of people drinking, we go from 16 down. So it's towards the end of the night. By that time, people are excited about their favorite team. There was no appetite for Alabama. All the 4s went for more money than Alabama, and people believe that Alabama, without Aden Holloway, cannot make a run in this tournament. I don't believe that. I think he's important, but if you're going to lose somebody, you wanted to lose one of those guards.
Yeah, lose a guard. Don't lose Aden Sherrill.
You did, but Holloway has become great ball handler, great distributor, and when things have stalled, he's the guy that's been able to shoot them out. He's been the most consistent three-point shooter.
I think Wrightsell can step it up. Look, was not good Friday night.
But he needs to have a big tournament.
Yeah. No, he's good. He's better defensively if he has to play more.
He's going to have to play more.
Yeah, him and Millett both.
That's going to help. But Amari Allen, Nate said last night, Amari Allen's going to play more guard. He's not going to play the power forward. He's going to play more on the perimeter.
Well, I think that's good for him. I mean, Amari Allen at the next level.
That's why I said this may get him to the NBA.
Yeah, this is his NBA position.
Yeah. And that could be, I mean, I think Alabama fans would take the trade-off if Alabama has a deep run and they end up in Indianapolis and Amari Allen is one of the major
Story of the
pieces for
tournament,
that,
yeah.
then that makes a lot of sense. The NBA would be like, that's where we project him anyway.
Yeah, all of a sudden, NBA guys are like, well, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Get this guy in the position we're going to play him in. Now look at him.
I mean, has this changed you guys? I
No,
know I brought him up
I-
yesterday. Peter Schrager, I was watching him this morning.
Yeah.
He's like, because they had Sean Farnham on, and Sean Farnham, who is one of their basketball analysts, was like, this is going to affect Alabama. Like, if you've got time to change your bracket, because I said yesterday that Schrager put them in the Final Four. I still think they make it out of this weekend. Do you guys
I
not?
do. I had Alabama losing to Michigan with Aden Holloway. I've got Alabama losing to Michigan without Aden Holloway. I don't think it impacts Alabama's run in this tournament. As far as distance
Yeah, let's
of
not
the run.
forget that JT Toppin is a better player than Aden Holloway, and he's going to be out if the favorites advance.
Yeah. So I've got Alabama in the same exact place with or without Holloway.
What I would have Holloway in Vegas as far as point spreads, what he would factor in, probably a point or a point and a half. That's probably where I would put him.
Well,
So
it dropped. The last I checked, I don't know where the point spread sits now. Last I checked last night, it had dropped all the way to 11.5, and at one point it was 14.5. So
I've seen 12.5. It's 11.5 right now.
that's a pretty significant drop on one player,
It is.
which probably means that's great
Texas
value.
Tech is not a gimme. I mean, they
Oh, no.
good
No.
defensive team, physical team. They can do things that
That's if you think they beat Akron. Which,
I said yesterday,
Yeah.
I mean, Akron.
I think
yeah.
Alabama's probably a 1-point favorite over Texas Tech when Holloway was playing. It's probably flipped now. Texas Tech's probably a 1.5-point favorite.
Yeah. Aden Holloway, we'll see what happens next. Nate Oats going into another tournament, dealing with headlines off the court. Last time, that team with all the stuff that went on around Brandon Miller, who was played all the way through all those the incident that happened, the shooting that happened down on the Strip, that he was fringely a part of and never charged with anything, never missed any playing time. But that had to be a distraction for that team.
He had a terrible tournament. Brandon
Yeah.
Miller did. He probably played his worst overall basketball in a crimson uniform in that
Especially that
tournament.
night against San Diego State.
Well, they were all bad against San Diego State, but he was the best player on that team. And, I mean, it definitely impacted that Alabama team. That was Nate Oats' best team, obviously the overall number one, but Brandon Miller was not himself in that tournament.
Well, I tell you, Holloway, I don't know if he can come back to Alabama if they lose to Hofstra.
Yeah.
No, I'm serious.
No,
I mean, you
you're
think
right.
about it, he's going to get the entire blame if they lost to Hofstra.
Can I add one more thing on the
Yeah.
Holloway situation before we go? Because this actually came up in the chat, and I meant to mention this earlier. Micah says that the Patch article says per Aden Holloway's bond, he cannot leave the state of Alabama. And that is true. That is something Tommy Spina explained to me. This was before a lot of the details had come out the first time I talked to Tommy, and he was like, Ryan, one of my concerns, he goes, it's a very small concern. He said, but anytime that you bail out, you can't leave the state of Alabama. It's part of your bond agreement.
Don't think he's a flight risk.
Well,
but,
and that's what Tommy said.
But that is,
Well,
I don't think there's any way around that.
Well, there is actually. Tommy was like, now
He
again,
doesn't have to play with an ankle bracelet.
well,
does he?
Tommy did joke about that. He's like, you could put him in an ankle bracelet. He said he's anything but a flight risk. He's going to be on national TV, every time they play a game. So the judge is going to know where he is. He said, but because Tuscaloosa is a college town, they are very, very lenient with that because kids get in trouble. They post bond, but they got to go back home for Christmas or Thanksgiving or whatever. So because it's a college town, he said they are pretty lenient. He goes, he's anything but a flight risk. He goes, I don't think that would be a huge issue, but it would be something.
They would have to go to the court.
They'd have to go to the
and say,
judge.
Well,
And he said a lot of times it's actually taken care of in the initial hearing, that you post bond and they go ahead and rule that he can leave the state. He goes, I don't know if it happened in that hearing or
If
not.
you're the defense attorney for Aden Holloway, can you pick your judge or at least lean that way? And I know this sounds like a joke,
You're talking about Judge Roberts.
but I'm talking about going to Judge Roberts.
I don't know. I don't think you get to pick them. But,
I mean, how aggressive are you when you're doing that bond hearing? We needed okayed for him to go to Tampa, Chicago. What about Indianapolis? No, just get us to Chicago.
we'll come back to you on that
Yeah,
one.
we'll come back. We'll get to Indianapolis.
Weed is legal in Chicago.
Yeah, that's where the discussion around the country.
Oh, and it should be. I mean,
becomes-
this is absolutely like.
That's where it becomes.
This is.
It really can become a recruiting situation if you're one of those coaches that want to recruit that way.
Yeah, I don't know how you guys feel. I know the drinking age is 21, but if you're a 19-year-old freshman and I'm at a tailgate and you've got a college kid that is drinking a beer, it's not a big deal.
Oh, listen. my kids they're not drinkers, or they weren't before they were of age. And, but the number of college kids I know that had IDs when they enrolled as a freshman, the fake IDs, it's like it's a business somewhere. I don't know who does it, but they do a great job too. I look at every one of them.
Well, I'll tell you who can spot them is the Floribama. I've seen their room full of fake IDs.
I'm just saying, look, laws are there for a reason. I get it, but there are certain things like this is not meth. This is weed. It's legalized in I don't know how many states now. I would say more than half.
No, I think it's 38.
It sounds right.
That's a precise number.
Yeah, I mean 38 is a precise number, and it is over half, so it qualifies.
I was going to ask you, do you think we're closer to the beginning of Nate Oats' time in Tuscaloosa or closer to the end of Nate Oats' time in Tuscaloosa?
I think we are closer to the end just based on this. I think he does have a fascination with the NBA. He's admitted that. The bullshit you've got to deal with at this level. I mean, first it's Brandon Miller. Now, and look, and I know this happens at the NBA level.
You deal with some of this in the NBA level, too.
You do.
It's a different world there.
But
the NBA handles the punishment for you.
It's much more regulated.
Yeah.
That's right. The other people handle that. You coach basketball.
You coach basketball.
And the complete roster flips. I mean, that's another thing. In the NBA, you got a guy under contract. You know what's going on.
But you are tied to a general manager and an organization in the NBA. I mean, Billy Donovan, we all agree, is a pretty good basketball coach.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Great basketball coach.
But he ends up with bad organizations, bad situations, and his NBA career is an afterthought.
But had a really good NBA career early with Oak City, though.
But I'll tell you a guy I would talk to is Brad Stevens, because Brad Stevens is a great basketball coach and gave it up to go to the front office. And I would want to know, was there something about coaching that made you give it up to go to the front office, or did you just always want to go to the front office?
Yeah.
Because Brad Stevens was great. He was having success as the Celtics coach. It wasn't like they were bad under him,
No,
right?
it was a rebuild, and then he got him good.
Right.
Yeah.
He got him good, and then he moved to the front office, which surprised a lot of people.
Yeah. I just, because I'm really worried, I'm a worrier by nature. And, if Nate one day leaves for the NBA, that's somebody trying the NBA out. I would hate to see him go to another college job.
I don't see that.
And I just have a feeling about North Carolina and Kentucky, one of them not making it out of this first round and them firing their coach.
I think it would be a quick trigger on Pope. I would feel like that's low probability with no.
But they wanted Oats before Pope.
They did, and he either turned them down or it never got to that point. However you want to play it.
I think he turned them down.
I think he turned them down. So if he turned them down then, I think he would turn them down again. And I don't think. I'm with you. I think Pope is on a massive hot seat if they don't do anything in this tournament next year. They're not even a one-and-done situation against Santa Clara. He's not losing.
Now, North Carolina.
With the most talked about payment of roster.
Yeah. I think I don't know what Pope's buyout is. I'll go look. But, boy, what you're paying Stoops right now to also be paying Pope, that is a lot of money for an athletic department.
I would imagine it's easier to find a couple of horse guys to pay basketball money.
Would be.
And then the other one is North Carolina. They've not been in love with Davis for a long, long time. If he was one and done, and we'll talk about some upsets coming up. Clay with us at the top, but those two jobs are iconic jobs. I was just wondering if you thought, hopefully we're not even to the midway point of the Nate Oats time in Tuscaloosa. I hope he stays forever. This has been so much fun.
I don't think he'll take another college job. I do think the NBA is always in play, but I think Oats at Alabama realizes he's done things that nobody's ever done there before, and I think he truly believes he can win a national championship.
Yeah.
And I do too, by the way.
Yeah, I do too.
I believe he can.
That would be so much fun to watch happen.